Hello and welcome back to Fallout 76. I am on the public test server where today we got an update that actually came with a lot of changes. There is weapon rebalances, there are perk card changes, there's just a whole bunch of things that were mentioned in the patch notes, and what I'm going to talk about actually wasn't mentioned at all, and that is 4-star legendary effects. Now, before we get into this, I want to stress this is an extremely early look. It wasn't mentioned in the patch notes, probably for a reason because they're not ready to roll it out, but the effects are available. At least there are effects that are available. We can actually look at them in the workbench and actually add them to items. The estimated time for this to come to the live game is December. So we're still a couple of months away, and all of these, or any or all of them could change in drastic ways. So just keep your expectations in check, but I really do want to go over these with you and actually show a few of them to you in action. All right, so here we are on the Tinker's Workbench, and these are the legendary effects. This is how they stand now. Early look, so it could change. But the first one we have is for power armor. It's called Aegis, and the description is reduces incoming damage for all teammates within a 50-meter radius by 5% up to a 25% on a full stack. So this seems like it would be useful, maybe a daily ops if you have a full set of this. Have this on a full set of armor, your teammates will get, or power armor rather, your teammates would get 25% less damage. So that could be very useful as a support kind of build. Next up, this is an armor and power armor effect. It is called Battle Loaders. 15% chance to instantly reload when bashing enemies, up to a 75% chance on a full stack, which means a full set of armor. So something like maybe if you're going to do like a black powder, something where you're reloading constantly, I could see you shoot an enemy, you bash them, 75% chance you'll instantly reload, which I think sounds pretty cool. Then we have Bruisers, which is another armor and power armor effect. Melee weapons deal a 5% bonus damage up to 25%. So you have a set of armor that you use for your melee character. Put this on every piece, you're going to do 25% more damage. So I think it sounds pretty good to me. Then we have one for weapons. It is called Bullies. When attacking outside of VATS, deal plus 50% bonus weak point damage. So if you're someone who likes to manually aim and you're good at hitting those weak spots, you're going to get 50% more damage. So I think that's really nice to give a bonus to players, because I know there are a lot of players that don't use VATS, that don't like to use VATS. So this is a nice effect for them. Then we have, this one actually sounds kind of fun. I have not had a chance to test this, but this is a power armor effect. It's called Choo Choos. 10% chance for 500 damage and bloody mess when sprinting into targets, and that is per piece. So if you have a full set, that's a 50% chance you're going to deal 500 damage and bloody mess. I'm assuming the bloody mess, it's in quotes. I'm assuming that means you're just going to make them explode into a gory mess. At least that's how it sounds. I am looking forward to testing this, but that actually sounds kind of fun. Then we have Combo Breakers. It is a melee effect. When dealing damage, you have a 50% chance to not use AP. 10% chance for auto melee weapons. So yeah, I guess that's how it sounds. You, if you're a VATS user for melee weapons, 50% chance the attack won't cost you any AP. And I guess for auto melee weapons, yeah, because the attacks are a lot more frequent, it's a reduced chance. That sounds, I don't know how useful that sounds, to be honest. That sounds, I don't know. That doesn't sound super useful. There's a lot of really cool effects in here. So yeah, I don't know that that's one I would, at least right off the bat, until I test it, if it's one I would go for. Then we have this one. This one I think will probably change. I have tested this out and I will show it to you. After I go through all these, I'm going to show you, I think, 3 effects I've picked out. This is one I'll show you, and to me it feels completely broken. It's a lot of fun though. So it is Conductors. It is for weapons. Critical hits fully restore AP and health, which means you do a critical hit on an enemy, your health restores to full and your AP restores to full, and it is as strong as it sounds. Then we have this other effect for ranged weapons. It is Electricians. When reloading, emit a shockwave that stuns nearby targets for 5 seconds with a 10-second cooldown. This seems like it's kind of like the Circuit Breakers effect. I tested a little bit and it was very underwhelming. There's other good effects. I don't think that this is one I would choose based on what I've seen now, but it may not be fully implemented. I mean, it's possible that some of these effects, even though the description's there, they don't completely work because it didn't really seem to do much. Then we have the weapons, another weapon effect. It's called Encirclers, and this one sounds cool, but I haven't tested it. The greater the number of combat targets around you, the greater your damage output. So if you're surrounded by a lot of enemies, you're just going to do more damage, which I think is a really cool sounding effect. Then we have another one for melee weapons. It is called Fencers. 10% plus 10% melee damage when one or more teammates are nearby, up to 40% on a full team. So it's per teammate. So if you're on, and I guess that includes yourself. It says up to 40%, so that must include you. So if you're in daily ops or something like that, you have this on your weapon, you'll do 40% more damage. Then we have a melee weapon, a melee effect, Iceman's. And I'm not sure why this is only for melee. To me, it seems like it could apply to anything, but it does say melee, so there you go. Applies cryo hit that slows targets when dealing damage in VATS. So if you like to play a melee character with VATS, this is a way to slow your targets down. Then we have one for armor and power armor. It is called Limit Breaking. Each worn armor piece reduces the cost of critical hits by 10% up to 50%. So if you have this on a full set of armor, it sounds like, this is another one, I have not tested this, but it sounds like the cost of critical hits will be half of what it would normally be, which to me means you could do critical hits more often. So probably a low health character wouldn't necessarily, if you're doing a crit every other shot, probably isn't all that beneficial, but for a full health character, it may get you from every third shot to every other shot. So I could see this being beneficial, and I do look forward to testing this at some point. Then we have Miasmas, which is an armor and power armor effect. When hit, a poisonous damage over time cloud harms nearby targets for 10 seconds. The dot damage increases per equipped piece. So that's each piece will add to the damage. I don't know the amount. It didn't show in the Pip-Boy. This is another one I want to show you a little bit when I get to that part of it. But this sounds kind of interesting. It actually sounds like something that actually might pair nicely with other things. Then we have Mole Rats, which is for armor and power armor. Health or HP regenerates slowly, while in interiors, it's 1 point per second per piece. So if you have a full set, it's 5 points per second, which just for reference, solar armor is only 4. So this actually gives you more than 4 than a full set of solar armor, but it only works on interiors. So it could kind of be interesting to actually have this on solar armor and make you even more unkillable, I guess. Then we have pinpointers for ranged weapons. You get 25% damage or 25% more damage when targeting enemy limbs. So if you're shooting arms and legs, you're going to get 25% more damage. Then we have, this one sounds interesting to me too. I have not tested this, but it is for weapons. It's called Polished. The greater the equipped item condition, and it says plus 100%, the greater the weapon damage up to 60%. Now, I'm not sure if that means your condition has to be over 100%, and that will increase your damage. But either way, if you're someone who likes to keep your weapon condition in tip-top shape, an extra 60% damage is nothing to sneeze at. Then we have Pounders, which is for melee weapons. And this is plus 10% damage after each consecutive melee hit on the same combat target up to 100%. Now, this doesn't say that it excludes auto melee weapons. So I'm assuming it'll work with a chainsaw or an auto axe where you're just getting like a crazy amount of hits. So up to double damage with something like this, that could really be a nice, it could really be a nice star if it's as good as it sounds. Then we have Propelling, which is power armor. And it says movement and sprint speed increased by 5% up to 25% on a full stack. So a full set of armor gives you 25% faster movement speed. What I don't know, if you have Speed Demon, for those that don't know, if you have Speed Demon, that already gives you the maximum movement speed. So I don't know if the speed has been increased and this will actually give you more than that, or if you have Speed Demon, there's no point in this. I don't really know what that's supposed to be. Then we have on weapons, it's called Pyromaniacs. When a combat target is burning, deal plus 50% bonus damage. So this ideally would be on some sort of weapon that does flame damage. Obviously, like if you want to make sure that you're going to get that bonus damage, you want to make sure you're the one dealing the flame damage as well. So that could actually be pretty good on something, I don't know, maybe a beta wave tuner on a laser gun or something, get an extra 50% bonus damage. I don't know. It sounds actually pretty cool, and I look forward to testing it. And then we have power armor, and it's called radioactive powered, and I don't quite understand this, but gain plus 2 AP regeneration at the cost of rads, up to plus 10 AP on a full stack. So it sounds like if you're currently irradiated, it'll take away your rads and give you AP in exchange. I mean, that's kind of how it sounds, but if you're playing low health, you don't want that to happen. And if you're playing full health, you don't have rads to give. For me, this kind of sounds like maybe something when the ghouls come next year, when a playable ghoul comes. I don't really know. I don't quite understand this one. Then we have Rangers, which is for armor and power armor. Ranged weapons deal plus 5% bonus damage up to 25%. So yeah, have this on your full set of armor and you get a plus 25% damage on your ranged weapons. Then we have Reflective, which I like the sound of this. Turn the tables on the mutations that we get. It is a power armor effect. Return 10% of damage received from an enemy target back. Let's start that over. Return 10% of damage received from an enemy target back towards them up to 50% on a full stack. So if you have a full set of this, 50% of enemy damage is just going to be reflected back at them. So I like that, just to turn the tables on those stupid mutated ones. Then we've got another power armor effect, Rejuvenators. Gradually restores wearers and teammates health and AP within a 50 meter radius. So this is another one that's a team-oriented one. So for daily ops, something where you're close to your teammates. And while you're wearing this, your teammates are just going to get health back. They're going to get health and AP back. So that's actually pretty cool for a support type character. And then we have Runners, which is for armor and power armor. AP sprinting cost reduced by 20% while outdoors, up to 100% on a full stack. Now, I did test this. The way I read this is if you have a full set of this, you should be able to sprint and it doesn't cost you any AP at all. That's not what happens. It reduces it. I mean, it's very small, but it is not 100% reduction. It's very small. So I'm not really sure how the math works out on that one. And this is another one that sounds pretty interesting. This is for power armor. It's called Scanners. AP cost of VATS attacks reduced by 10% up to 50% on a full stack. So if you want to do a VATS build and a power armor, this is actually seems like it would be pretty cool. You could actually cut the AP cost of your weapons by half. So that sounds actually pretty amazing, honestly. So I don't know. I haven't tested this, but it sounds really cool. Then we have the Slayers effect, which is for weapons. You get a 50% damage bonus against legendary and raid combatants. This seems very specific, so I'm not sure about it. We'll have to see what the raids look like and how tough those enemies are, but this sounds very situational. Then we have for ranged weapons, Stabilized, improves weapon recoil and stability by 50%. This looks like it's another one that is targeted at people that like to manually aim their weapons. Then we have Stalwarts, which is a power armor effect. You get plus 50 damage and energy resistance to the user and all the teammates within a 50 meter radius. So again, something like a daily op where your enemy or your teammates are close to you, and it goes up to 250 damage and energy resistance for you and your teammates. Then we have another armor and power armor effect called Tankies. Standing still nullifies ballistic damage by 15% for 10 seconds with a 20-second cooldown, up to 75% for a full set of armor. So this is like the Sentinels effect, only it's not a chance to reduce damage. It actually just does reduce damage. Then we have Vipers, which is a weapon effect. When combat target is poisoned, deal 50% bonus damage. So obviously you would want to have this on a weapon that deals poison damage to make sure you're getting that 50% bonus damage. And that is the last effect. So let me show you some of these in action. Okay, so there's this effect, it's Miasma. Yeah, Miasma is where when hit, deal a poisonous dot cloud that harms nearby targets for 10 seconds. It doesn't say how much damage it does, and I looked at the Pip-Boy, it doesn't tell you at all how much damage it does, but I have a full set, so I should be getting the maximum damage. All right, here we go. So we've got a mole miner here, and there's the poison cloud. So you definitely want to be close to your enemies because the poison cloud triggers close to you. But you can see the amount of damage is actually quite significant. Now, granted, this is a mole miner. Probably don't have these level 50. Probably doesn't have much in the way of poison resistance, but you can actually see it's pretty slow. I could definitely see this being something you want to use as a melee character. I could see this being really good as a melee effect or a melee character because you actually will be getting hit a lot when you play melee. So I think that could be pretty cool. Also, like I said before on Strangler Heart, it could be kind of cool to actually just add to the amount of poison damage that is dealt. But it doesn't seem to matter whether they shoot you or whether they hit you. And you can see his health is just kind of disappearing pretty much. They must not have much in the way of poison resistance. Let's just see. So their poison resist, yeah, their poison resist is pretty low. It's only 18. So with such low poison resistance, it's not going to, yeah, they're not going to have much defense against it. Obviously, it would still be faster for me to shoot them, but it does open up some interesting possibilities. Okay, so this next one, this is the one I actually found the most fun of all the ones I've tried. So it's called Fracturers. And the description is when crippling limbs, they explode and deal up to 150 explosive damage to nearby targets. And to me, it seems like you want to give yourself the best chance to cripple limbs. So I put the limb damage, plus 50% limb damage on here. So it's going to give me a really good chance to cripple limbs. And yeah, let's just see this in action. All right, so there is a super mutant who'll shoot his leg and he's crippled. It didn't explode. That's one thing oh, there we go. That's one thing I have noticed. It's kind of inconsistent. It doesn't seem to trigger every single time. But when it does trigger, I found it quite amusing. There we go. I mean, I thought that was kind of fun, but it also doesn't seem to trigger more than one time per target. So if at least any time I've tried this, it doesn't, if I cripple one leg, it'll trigger. It doesn't necessarily, because it doesn't necessarily kill them. Let's see, does it work on heads? No, it doesn't seem to want to work on heads. There we go. And it seems pretty inconsistent. There we go. It was triggering a lot more the first time I tried this. There we go. See, to me, I just found that really entertaining. I don't know how actually useful it is, I mean, it's 150 explosion damage, and oh, I have the there's the armor effect as well. Boom. Yeah, see, it's kind of a fun effect. I don't really, again, I think it's more of a novelty thing. I don't know how useful it actually would be. All right, let's see if we can get this. There we go. I mean, that's pretty good. It did so much damage. Look at how much health this guy has left. I mean, it almost was enough to take out 2 targets, which is pretty cool. All right, this last one that I want to show you, I'm going to be shocked if this makes it into the live game as it is right now, because this is completely broken. So it is called Conductors. Critical hits fully restore AP and health. And so if you look at this, this is a plasma gun, and they have high AP cost. It's 24 AP cost, which means normally I could shoot around 20 shots before I run out of AP. All right, here we go. We've got a Mirelurk Queen. I wanted a Mirelurk Queen here. Let's make sure we can target. Let's just target her torso and do those crits. And you can see my health bar and my AP bar is just constantly... I mean, she's hit me with poison, but it's not gonna matter because every time I do a critical hit on her, my health gets restored to full. Ah, okay. That's... doesn't matter. My health and my AP are just restored to full. So, I mean, if this was a quad, I should have put quad on this. Just to show. I mean, you wouldn't normally want quad on something like this because... I mean, as much as you do, my health is just bouncing back to full, and my AP is stuck at full. So this effect is just... it's beyond broken. It's so good. I'd be shocked if it makes it into the live game as is. And there you have it, an early look at Legendary 4-star effects. Keep in mind that this could change dramatically by the time it comes to the live game, so keep those expectations in check. This is expected to come with the December update. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit one of the buttons, and I hope you join me in the next one. Thank you very much.